Right. Good evening, those of you who are able to make it to our very first live session towards 2023 Ghana School of Law entrance examination. Yeah, so the purpose of tonight's meeting, first, to give you a sense of what we are going to be doing, just in case you can join us. First of all, in terms of meeting, I hope and I will endeavor to be online at 9 p.m. Every night, so long as there is no insurmountable impediment militating against such a wish of my part. And then the sessions would also not be lengthy because I am, have a busy schedule, but I still think that students who are now going to write the entrance examination, as well as those who have written it a couple of times and still have not made it, should be assisted in their revision. So if we're able to do 40, 45 minutes, it's better than not doing any thing at all. So that is first point. The second point I will also bring to your attention is that, well, I don't know when they are going to do the exam, but if anything, going by last year, if nothing at all, probably somewhere, I don't know whether it's in September or late August, either early September or late August, probably. I'm sure you'll get the dates. I don't know if you're aware, but I am working with the 31st August as the, if you like, the time that we hope to have finished our online revision on assumption that they are going to do the exams in the first week of September. If anybody knows the time, you could probably put it in the chats, and then I will look at the date that you are going to do the exams, but I have no certainty regarding when it will be set. But at least we can draw inspiration from the precedent from last year that it may probably be somewhere in September or worst case in August. Yeah, so we have 6 subjects, if I am not mistaken, in terms of your examinable areas for purposes of the 2023 Ghana School of Law entrance examination. But if you have information different from what I'm working with, you could share that with me. So in absence of any changes being communicated by the General Legal Counsel's Independent Examination Committee, we assume that you are going to be examined on constitutional law, Ghana legal system and legal method, land law, law of contracts, criminal law, and then law of torts. So these are the 6 examinable areas. And for that matter, the approach I intend to adopt for 2023 revision towards the law school entrance examination is to do one of these subjects each day or one day in a week, so that if, for example, we did constitutional law or Ghana legal system tonight. Tomorrow we do something else up to the 6th day. And then on the 7th day, if I am able to come online, we do what we call like a general revision. So we can just deal with any questions regardless of the particular area. So that hopefully will be the probably like the 7th day. Yeah, so that is how it will be. And again, in terms of how you should prepare, I want to share a few thoughts with you. And the thoughts that I am sharing are also informed by comments from those who have been examiners. Maybe you put your ear on the ground, we hear some of them, the observations that they make from performance of students. So I will share a few thoughts in that regard with you so that it will influence your preparation towards the exams. And then when we are done with sharing those thoughts with you, last year, I suggested an approach which students can find profitable to give them confidence and assurance that they're very well prepared for the examination. Now, because we have a good number of participants in this session who are going to write the examination for the first time, I will not take for granted that you are in the known. So I will repeat with fresh emphasis what I told previous year students. And then if you finish and I've not exhausted my 40 minutes, I will probably take one short topic and then we get it done before we hit the 45th minute, and then we end the session. Yeah, so first and foremost, observation by examiners, markers, and so on. One major observation is about language. And language here, they speak about it in two ways. The first aspect of the language problem they have observed with respect to students, that's it, the entrance examination, is that they take basic grammar for granted. Mind you, you have gone through LLB, right? You've gone through undergraduate studies, culminating in the award of the Bachelor of Laws certificate and so on. And for that matter, no one will sympathize with you if you are deficient in basic grammatical expression, so that the basic, putting words together for you to make sense, paying attention to tenses, comma, full punctuations, and so on. If you are not getting those things, and if in your answer it shows that you have that mechanical inaccuracy, you have that grammatical deficiency, it will let you lose marks. Because what it means is that you are not there yet. You see, you are not there yet. And so please, to remedy that, I will propose that it is not too late luckily for us as students of the law, we are supposed to be, reading cases and be reading our textbooks and all that. And the more you read and write, you overcome these language problems. And especially so, those of you who are so much involved in social media communication with a lot of, slangs, urban, and then those, shortcuts, or those, if you like, abbreviated way of communicating in the social media space. Now that gets stuck into your consciousness, and when you go into examination, you will be writing some of those abominable things without even you being aware. So please, if you know that if you're doing a lot of this social media, communication, WhatsApps, Snap, and what have you, and we use those, very informal way of speaking, and you're able to get your thoughts through, it becomes part of you. But the law school entrance examination, there's a lot at stake, in the sense that we have, over 2,000 students who are writing it. And going by the last 2 years, there are only 500 to 700 students will be taken. If we are to go by the last 2 years example, and you want to be part of that. And the purpose of this examination is just to filter. All of you have the basic requirement, your LLB degree, but then who should we take and who should we leave out? And what that means is that your markers marked with fist hand, iron hand, they are merciless, not because they are just callous, because of the way the examination is. This is selection examination, right? Selection examination just to eliminate some people and get the desired number, so to speak. And for that matter, if you provide the slightest opportunity for you to be marked down, you'll be marked down. The results will come, and then you have a shock of your life because of certain basic things you probably didn't pay attention to. So please, let's take these pieces of advice seriously. Let's take them seriously. Now, the second point about the language problem, which examiners have actually observed, has to do with lack of appreciation of basic legal expression. Every field has got its language. In law too, there are certain basic ways of expressing certain thoughts. And you cannot take those expressions for granted. You cannot take those expressions for granted. For example, it will be unacceptable if you are dealing with a problem-based question in an area of private law or civil law, as in contracts, tort, for you to be talking about the defendant is guilty of breach of contract. Yes, if you say guilty, we get the point you are trying to make, but it will raise a red flag for the examiner as whether you know when we are speaking, let's say, criminal law, and then when we are not speaking criminal law, right? So these are some of the basic things, as it were. So please, let's pay attention to them. Now, the second observation has to do with structure of answers, how candidates structure their answers. It is one thing to know what the question is examining, and another thing to be able to organize your ideas in a way which will let your response be coherent, which will let your response be logical. And the good thing is that as far as law is concerned, especially if you are talking about problem-based question, you are talking about scenario question or hypothetical case, and you are invited to advise parties or to identify issues and resolve them. We have centuries tested approach in going about some of these things. And all of us, as students of the law, we know it so well, what you call the IRAC or the IPAC. And please, if you have a problem-based question and you don't use the IRAC or the IPAC, your response is going to look unstructured. And once it is unstructured, you will be marked down, right? You'll be marked down, because don't forget, we have to know, because it's unstructured, you just start talking. You don't raise issues. You don't identify areas of the law. You don't raise issues. You don't take the issues one after the other so that we know the relevant principles for that issue. And then you do the analysis and then the application and draw your conclusion on that issue before you move on to another issue. You don't do any of this. You just start talking like maybe as if a journalist is describing what? A situation. No. If you do that, you will be penalized. You not get the you not get good marks. You'll be marked down substantially. So don't let us take structure for granted. And with respect to structure, if you are dealing with an essay question too, examiners are worried that students just mumble and jumble, and it's like they are all over the place. But we know that essay questions are also supposed to be structured so that you have logical presentation of ideas. You need to put your ideas together, before you start, writing, so that you can arrange them. Which ideas should be in the introduction, which ideas should come next, and so on. If you even need to use a subheadings, right, to enhance the layout of your answer and also the flow of ideas, so as to assist your reader, in this particular case, your examiner, to clearly and effortlessly understand what you are trying to put across. If you don't do that and you see the essay question, you start writing whatever you think you know about it. Yes, you get some marks, but because you are not well structured, you will not get very good marks. The third major observation by examiners has to do with citation of authorities. This examination, for goodness sake, is a law examination. And you cannot write a law paper and in your responses, you don't cite appropriate authorities. Authorities here are referring to, depending upon what is at stake, whether there are relevant constitutional provisions or statutory provisions or decided cases. So if you provide your answer and you've just written your answer, no matter how interesting your answer is, if you've not made effort to ground your discussion, to ground your responses in relevant authorities, you will be marked low. Because what you are telling us is that you are not aware that there are some authorities which gave birth to whatever that you have written. Law is not located in the air. Law is located in sources. Law, and the sources are the Constitution, if it's applicable to whatever you are dealing with, enactments, Acts of Parliament, and so on. And then case law or judicial decisions. These are the key sources out of which you get legal principles or get the statement of the rules from. So therefore, where you have written your answer, and from, let's say that you use, let's say, 3 pages, right, or 4 pages to put your ideas across, and we look at, we go through, and you don't get even a single authority, be it a provision of the Constitution or be it provision of the statute or a decided case, then that is that would be quite worrying. And particularly so when it comes to typical common law areas like contracts, tort. If you're dealing with contract and tort, no one will sympathize with you if you are unable to cite the relevant cases. Yes, we agree that there may be so many cases regarding a principle. It is not a requirement that you should cite all of them. No. So there is this we call capital selector. If you have one principle with many authorities saying the same thing, just try and remember the most common one, the most popular one or two. And once you're able to cite one or two, I mean, if you have the ability, but one should suffice for a principle, you'll be good to go. But where you've written a contract, law answer, tort law answer, and there's no judicial decision, then you are in for trouble. You will not get good marks. The marks you get will not let you pass. That one I can assure you. And again, you take a subject like criminal law. Criminal law is substantially codified, although we have a lot of cases which expound on the principle or which illustrate the principles as in the legislation. So therefore, if you had like a criminal law question and you did not cite any provision of Act 29, as the case may be, you don't make any effort to cite, then you are not making a good impression. So, and the same thing applies to constitutional law. You cannot answer constitutional law question. You don't cite any provision of the Constitution. You don't cite any of the Supreme Court decisions. When we have plethora, we have a numerous multitude of decisions on various aspects of our Constitution. You don't cite any. Now, those of you who have seen the last year question, I think there was a question about the impact of the human rights on criminal law or something like that, if I remember. And to a large extent, about 60% or 70% of the things that students probably ought to have stated in response to that question will be sufficient familiarity with the rules of a fair trial as embodied in Article 19 of the Constitution. So there's no way that you will be able to get decent marks for a question like that if you don't make effort to cite some of the relevant provision as well as the decided cases. So these are very important, and that is why, despite the me being extremely busy, I have endeavored to start coaching you in your preparation early, so that some of these things, if you haven't taken them serious, you will begin to take them serious in your preparation. So let us keep that in mind. Yeah, and I think the other observation, which when you put our ear to the ground, we hear from some of these examiners, is that students are not balanced in how they also approach the question. There are two questions, right? Assuming each of them is going for 50 marks, so that the two questions will give you 100 marks. If you spend all the time on only one question, and the other question, you spend just 10 minutes, right? Or 15 minutes on it, it will definitely affect your performance with respect to that question. And the overall performance is going to be affected. So let us keep that in mind. Let us keep that in mind. And finally, it is also said that a good number of candidates significantly disappoint examiners and markers, in the sense that they will take scripts where no effort has been made by the student. Either the script is probably blank, or the student just put maybe just few sentences, about 3 or 4 sentences, and then the student is done. Now that is horrifying, because what it means is that that student's LLB is a suspect. Because if your LLB is not a suspect and you went through yourself, even if under pressure of examination, you would not be able to write the best of responses or answers, you should be able to say something reasonable, which will let any reasonable person nod his head that this person has properly acquitted himself, despite the fact that he has not written perfectly. So please, let us keep that in mind. It's very important. It's very important. Yeah, so these are the observations. And now I come to my own suggestions to anybody who wants to heed my advice in terms of strategy. First, I want to disabuse your mind about looking north, south, east, and west of Ghana for leak questions or for questions where somebody said that these are the questions which are going to come. Get that out of your mind. That is the best way to fill the paper. And those who have written the paper before and have failed, if they'll be very honest and confess to you, some of them will actually say that they did what I am talking about. Instead of sitting down and going through normal preparation and revision, they just want to use their time looking around for a question which is going to come. And all their energies, all their time will be devoted towards those questions. And what happens is that when they go and those questions don't come, what it means is that they have already secured a seat in the following year's entrance examination because they're going to fill this one. So let us pay attention to that. Now, if you don't want to do that and you want to be a serious candidate, right, who is really ready and prepared for anything and for everything as far as 2023 examination is concerned, then this is what I think you should do. First, do self-audits of your strengths and weaknesses as far as the 6 examinable modules are concerned. Constitutional law, Ghana legal system and method, law of contracts, law of tort, land law, criminal law. You need to do rigorous, honest self-audit. And what do I mean by that? Devote, even if you are going to spend 3 days to do that, I don't really mind because it is worth the effort. It will put you on the right trajectory for you to do the appropriate preparation. So do not be a waste of time, I should say. So how do you go about this rigorous, radical, and honest self-audit? You can get exercise book, right? Get a plain blank exercise book, and you sit down on your own. Say that today I'm going to do self-audit with respect to 2 or 3 subjects. Then the following day you do the other 3, and then you are done. So you take, let's say, constitutional law. Close all books, put your phone, laptop, and everything away. Just put your blank exercise book. Try and, on your own, list all the topics which you know constitute the subject constitutional law, okay? List them on your own. Forget about the order, like as to which one comes first, second, no, it doesn't really matter. As they come to you on your own, without opening any book, without looking at any tablet or gadget, just list the topics which you think constitute, let's say, constitutional law. When you are done, take each of the topics which you have listed, right? So assuming you're able to list, let's say, 12 or 15 topics or whatever, just, I mean, for purposes of illustration, as what you know are the subjects, sorry, the topics, which are usually taught in the subject constitutional law. What you do next is that for each of the 15 topics, you are able to put down on your own without any assistance from anybody and from any source. You take the topic one by one, and again, on your own, ask yourself, what are the key ideas, right? This topic, what are the key ideas which you recall under that topic? In a very, like in the outline or skeletal form, just put them down under that topic. And then when you finish under that topic, you ask yourself, what are some of the authorities which are usually discussed with respect to this topic? If constitutional provision, decided cases, and so on, you put them there. Then you move on to the next topic, and you do the same thing. So you repeat this process for all the 15 topics which you were able to put down. Now, when you are done, as far as constitutional law is concerned, you will be in a position, right, to know where you are deficient. That is where you are very weak and you need more effort in terms of doing more learning there, because you struggle when you are trying to do that. You repeat the same exercise for the other subjects. So maybe contract on your own. What are the topics which are usually taught in contract? You list them. After that, you take each of them. What are the main ideas, the main principles, which I usually talk about as far as the topic is concerned? You put them down in a very skeletal outline form. And then you ask yourself, what are the main authorities which are usually taught or discussed under this topic? You put them down. You repeat that for all the topics in contract. And then again, when you finish, you begin to know where you are strong and then where you are weak. You repeat it for all the other subjects. Now, if you do that, you will notice that you will get a clear picture of the various subjects and where you are very weak. So my strategy will be that once I have done the self-audit to know where I stand with respect to the various subjects and the topics they're under, those ones which my audits reveal that I am weak or I need to do more, I will use the following or the next 2 to 3 weeks to be learning those topics across the same subjects. So use about 3 weeks, 1 month to learn those topics which your audits reveal that you are weak. So that at the end of that 1 month, you will have corrected the deficiencies that you identify from your audit. And now you are ready to start the proper revision across all the topics, giving equal time and emphasis, because you don't know where the examination questions are going to come from. Then begin to now program yourself. Now, each day, how many subjects can I learn? Can I learn 2 subjects a day? Because we have 7 days in the week. So if I can learn 2 subjects a day, what it means is that by the time the week ends, for each subject, if for nothing at all, I will have learned it, what do you call is it twice? Yes, because if you are learning 2 subjects a day, in 3 days, you have covered all the 6 subjects. So you have opportunity to learn each subject twice in a week. And then the 7th day, try your hands on questions on your own. Make effort, right? Take any question under any of the topics that you are learning. Problem-based question, essay question. Try and write the answer on your own and the examination question. Time yourself. right? Time yourself and do it. Now, when you finish, if you have a study partner, you can let your study partner look at it for you. Or if you don't have anybody, you can mark it yourself, right? You can mark it yourself. You can just read of what you did. You have your books there, and then you get a sense of how well you are doing. Now, if you follow this approach, I am quite certain that when you go to the examination hall, there will be no question which will be such that you have no idea whatsoever. No, if you use this approach, what it means is that you will be in a position to answer every question. Even if you are not going to get 40/50 for each answer, you'll be able to provide an answer which will take you to the area of 25 to 30/50. And if you can get 25 to 30/50 for each of the questions, you pass the paper, you make it. Yeah, so in a nutshell, these are the things I want us to pay attention to as we start the revision. Yeah, so tomorrow being Tuesday, I will start with one substantive area. Wednesday, I'll do another thing Thursday. So the idea is that in 6 days, we have done all the 6 subjects, at least something under each of them. And that rhythm will be repeated until the eve of the examination. Yeah, so I will yield, and I said I'm not going to do a lengthy session. My session will be maximum 45 minutes. So I've done 42 minutes. It's left with the 3 minutes. I will, if you have any questions or you have any inquiry, you can make it. But the time for every day is 9 p.m. So 9 p.m. when I come, there are only 10 people, or if there's only nobody, I'll just start. But as soon as it's 9:45, I have to end. If you want to ask a question or make a comment, you can raise up your hand and then we'll allow you to speak. Or even let me release all of you, but make sure that only one person is speaking at the time. Thank you. Okay, is anybody unmuting the mic? Yeah, PP.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Mine is actually, because it's not any particular subject, this is a general. Mine is just to appreciate your effort. I'm a new student who is coming to write the exams. And then what you have just said, I think is an eye-opener for us to start with. And then I will pray to God to help you and give you strength and guide you and give you directions for us to follow whatever and be able to pass the exams. Thank you very much, sir.
Right, thank you, PP. Okay, somebody said, how do we get the link to join Delhi, please? Okay, what happens is that I think we had a number of platforms. So maybe let me do it this way. For those of you who are on the, we have about 10 or 12 platforms. Of course, some and a good number have passed the exam. So as they pass, they leave. Others who have passed, but they have some are even lawyers, but they are still on this. That's the certain. So we don't know those who are actually writing. Well, the link, maybe my advice would be that what is a way to help you? Okay, please go to the, I'm going to there's one link that this link you are using is the same link which will be used until the end of June when it will expire. Then when it expires, we'll create a new one. So once we have this one, every day, if you click on it, it will bring you to the class. Then that solves that. Yes. But then we also have like a platform, but because I don't define the easy way by which those who are not on it can join it, but I don't have like the time to be there's a platform. Okay, no, let me do it this way. If you WhatsApp me, just WhatsApp me, don't call me, please. I don't take calls. So if you WhatsApp me and I get the time, I'll add you to any of the platforms. So I've put the WhatsApp number there. Then somebody has asked a question. Then is that how many topics? Let me see. Please, how many topics do you think is feasible to learn a day? Since some topics are quite broad, and you suggested to attempt 2 subjects a day. Okay, good. I think, like, as I said, if you do the audits, okay, you do the audits, even maybe there's another aspect I probably didn't add to the audit, but because of this question, which the student has asked, I think it's fair that I suggest that to you as well. Now, when you do the audit for the particular model, after you have finished, you can take your standard textbook and then compare it with your textbook, what the topics are and so on. Now you can begin to give weighting, right, to the topics. So let's say that if it's constitutional law, and assuming I have 15 topics, let's say I have constitutionalism, I have chieftaincy, I have independent bodies under the constitution, the executive, the judicial, and so on. When I do the audit, if I'm to give weighting, if I'm to sort of attach some percentage to the topics in terms of what my strengths are, how am I going to do it? So let's say, okay, I'll say that each topic, the maximum point is 10. If I give myself 10, it means that for that topic, I probably know almost everything there. So let's say that I give myself 4 let's say in chieftaincy, right? Then when it comes to constitutionalism, I give myself 7. When it comes to independent constitutional bodies, let's say I give myself 3. 3 meaning that on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being like the greatest performance or strength, I'm saying that for that topic, my strength is, let's say, 3. And other places, I'm saying that my strength is 7. So therefore, if I have constitutional law today and I have to learn, I'm going to learn the topics I scored myself low first. Then when I have exhausted that, before I come back to the other topics that I haven't done. So I think that is one strategy that you can use to help you in your preparation. I don't know if this assists the person who asked that question. Then Bright is also asking the question, please, during the exams, are we allowed to write or draft on the question paper? Last year, the regulators denied us from making points on the question paper. Okay, we don't write on question paper. And in fact, you should rather write the planning of your answer, right? The planning of your answer can be in the first page of your answer booklet. I learned this strategy way back in 1991 when I was writing my BEC examination in Kuntanas in the village, that you can use the first page of your answer booklet, whatever, to do the answer plan. But all that you have to do is that you use your ruler to cross it out neatly so that the examiner will know that this was just answer plan. And even if your examiner or marker sees that, that in itself is a good sign that you are someone who thought about your answer before actually committing it into writing. So you don't have to write on the question paper, but there's nothing wrong to do answer plan somewhere in the answer book, and then make sure that we just cross it out neatly. And then you write maybe answer draft or planning or whatever on it. Okay, so finally, there is this YouTube channel which we call the Ghana Law TV. So what we do is that when we finish, we put the recording there so that just in case you didn't come, or if you want to play what you've done back for your revision, be able to do that. So thank you very much for coming. Have a very good night, and then see you tomorrow at 9 p.m.